Well, hello all and welcome back to the channel. I want to tell you guys a story. When I was a little boy, when I was just a kid, just knee-high to a grasshopper, my mom used to tell me a story, and she used to tell, well, she told everybody the story because it scared her. It was something that had happened to her that she couldn't figure out what it was. That one night, while I was, like I said, I was a kid. I was a young kid when this apparently happened to her. One night, while sleeping, she was woken up by the sound of something in the room. Now, at the time my mother was still married to my father. They later got a divorce, but at the time they were still married. I was probably, I'd say probably around 9 or 10. She said, this is exactly what she said. Now, my mom passed away in 2008, okay, so that may be relevant to this story. But my mom passed away in 2008 from pancreatic cancer. I had to watch her pass. I held her hand when she went. But her story was this. One night she was woken by the sound of somebody in her room. Now, when she first initially woke up, I think she probably thought it was my father getting up and just making some noise. She said she woke up and she looked into the doorway of her bedroom while she was laying in bed and saw a dark figure standing there. Now, I just got goosebumps on my arms thinking about this. Really did. I mean, I feel like I just got severe goosebumps. I don't usually tell these stories, honestly. She looked into the doorway and she saw what looked like a dark figure. She said it was adult-sized, completely dark, and just standing there. Now, her initial reaction was to believe that there was somebody in the room. So she reached over to grab my father and tried to shake him, to tell him to wake up, because there was somebody there. And she said that she reached over and she shook him and she shook him, and she called out his name several times, trying to get him to wake up. Well, he didn't wake up. He didn't move at all. So she kind of got panicked at that point of him not waking up, and she kind of grabbed him and she turned to him. She said, "Jim, wake up. There's somebody in the room." He still didn't wake. She turned back around and she looked back over at the doorway, and this figure was right in her face. She said that the fear went through her body and she laid back in her bed against the pillows as deep as she could push to get back away from this figure. She said the figure just sat there, staring right back at her. She said it didn't have any eyes, it didn't have a face, it didn't have anything she could see. It was just pure dark. Now, I'm going to tell you and share some stories about that house that I grew up in and why it is I do what I do. It's not just out of the blue. I don't just share these stories for fun. I'm actually on the hunt for something, okay? We'll get to that another time. She said that it sat there over her face, and she said that she tried to scream. She tried desperately to get out even a word, and she couldn't. She said she felt the figure grab her by the shoulders and started to shake her. And she said it was like something that just held her there. She couldn't move. Her eyes were huge, and she was just staring back at this darkness. Now, she said she couldn't recognize anything about it. She said she tried to scream and tried to scream. She said she finally, after this going on for probably a good 30 seconds, she finally got out, "No!" and screamed. At the moment she did that scream, she saw that it just evaporated. It was gone. She felt the feeling of it lifting off of her, and it was gone. Now, about the time she screamed out "no," my father heard her, and my father woke up and looked at her to say, "What's going on?" My mother passed in 2008. About a year later, after my mom had already been gone, I had a dream. And the dream started from the moment of me staring down at red carpet. And I remember in the dream, and I can see, I dream in color. I don't know about all of you. I dream in color. Always have. I don't know why people say it's in black and white, because I would remember that. And I know I see color. Well, in my dream, suddenly, in the dream, I don't know what happened prior to this. I don't know what happened really. I know what happened after I woke up. But I don't know what was going on prior to this. I just know that I saw that red carpet. And I remember looking down at the carpet and thinking, this is my mom's bedroom. And she hadn't lived in that house for years. She left the house maybe a few years after my dad and her separated. So I looked at that carpet, and it was so obvious because it was a blood red. It was such an ugly red, really. I mean, red's pretty, but this was not. This was sort of just a dreary red, And I'm looking down at the carpet in my dream, and I looked around the room, and I thought, I'm in my mom's bedroom. This is the old house. I know where I am. And I looked over at the bed, and my mom and my dad were laying in bed. And I could just tell. I said, oh my God, this is before she died. In my dream, I knew this is before she died. And I thought, oh my God. And I ran over to the bed, and I grabbed her, and I said, Mom, listen to me. It's me. It's me. I'm here. And she looked right at me in my direction, but she wasn't looking at me. She was looking past me. But her eyes were huge, and she was just staring at me. And I was like, Mom, it's me. I told her I knew, okay? I knew that this was before she died. There she is. I mean, she even looked younger, And I yelled at her, and I said, Mom, you're going to die. You're going to die from pancreatic cancer, Mom. Please stop smoking. Please stop everything. Don't drink. Don't smoke. Please. You can live. Please listen to me. Don't die. And she just sat there with her eyes huge, staring back at me. But she was looking right through me. She wasn't looking at me. And while she sat there, you could tell that her mouth was moving, but I couldn't hear anything. And I was just looking at her going, Mom, it's me. I'm an adult. It's me. I'm an adult. I know I don't look like me, but it's me. And I'm shaking her and saying, Mom, listen. Don't die. You can live. You can stop this. You have a choice. Don't die. And it still bugs me. I mean, I'm bugged. I shouldn't even tell you guys this. I don't know why I am. Okay, I know why I am. I am because she let out a roar suddenly. And she just yelled, no, in my face. And I let go. And I pulled back, and I looked at her, and I was like, oh my God. I scared her. Like, oh my God. I didn't mean to scare her. And I woke up. And I was laying on the couch in my living room. I had fallen asleep there. And I looked around the room, and I thought, oh God, I'm back. And it upset me, because I thought, she was there for a minute. For a minute, my mom was alive. For just a second, she was alive. She wasn't gone. And then I thought to myself, you know what? She didn't hear me. She didn't hear me because she did die of pancreatic cancer anyway. And I remembered all of a sudden it hit me again like, your mom's gone. She's not alive. It was a dream. And I got up, and I've remembered that my whole life now. Ever since then, since 2009, that has haunted me. And it wasn't until a few minutes later that I sat back and I thought about it. And I thought, was it me? I remembered her dream all of a sudden. And I thought, wait a second. She told me about a night when... Could it be me? Could that be? Could that be? Could that have happened? How did this happen? How could I have been then? I was a little boy when this happened to her. I was just a little kid. There's no way. But I know what I saw in my dream. I know that I was screaming at her and telling her not to die. Just live, Mom, live. Please stop smoking and please stop these things. You're going to die. I remember repeating it. You're going to die. I believe there may be something very prophetic about dreams. I don't know what. I don't know. I couldn't sit here and tell you how or why that happened. I couldn't tell you. And I know it certainly wasn't from remembering her story, because after she passed away, this was a story that I couldn't remember anymore. I never asked her about it. I had heard it before. I didn't have any reason to bring it back up. I had heard her say it to other people. And she was very brief later in life. Later in life, it was just that she saw a figure in her room one night and it scared her. That was about the whole story at that point. It just got shorter and shorter, you know. It kind of became a lesser and lesser story. But could it be? Could it be? Did I somehow manifest in her life, God, 20 years before she died? I don't know. But when I put them together and I listen to what she said, and I think about what I know I saw in my dream, I have to question it. I really have to question, is there a chance that somehow what she heard that night when I was just a little boy was me trying to tell her? She didn't get the message. I can tell you that. She definitely didn't get the message.
This has been the Confidential Report. For even more stories like this one, make sure to subscribe to our channel today. And please show your support by clicking the like button on this video. For even more stories and news you deserve to know the truth about, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for watching the Confidential Report.